You are watching the Halos in the Infield podcast. From everything Halos to full series recaps to upcoming series projections for the fans, by the fans. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome into the Halos in the Infield post-game podcast. Not really, I don't know why I say post-game, but it's the podcast. Yes, I'm Todd Fox along with Fernando, the Lone Star Halo. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well. We had pitchers and catchers report a couple days ago. Position players are in, and Mike Trout's already starting in center field. So well, let me ask you this. Were you surprised that he's kind of puffing his chest out a little bit and he's saying, hey, I want to play center field?
Yeah, but kind of annoyed at the same time, or kind of a rolling of the eyes because, like, I don't know, man. I kind of want to have him stay at DH since we really don't have one. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, Mike, I'd rather just stay quiet. And if you can let your bat be, talk for you, then fine.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like, you know what? Like, we've been saying that this is Zach Neto's team, and I wholeheartedly believe that. But at the end of the day, Mike Trout is getting paid as the face of the franchise, right? I mean, the checks are still being signed, and they're still going his way. So because of that, you kind of do have to let him do what he wants, right? I mean, he's getting paid, was it $35 million a year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so there you go. And in all fairness, I mean, what was the other option in center field? Josh Lowe was probably the favorite, I think. I mean, Trent Rush tweeted today like, hey, guys, we've been saying this for months on AM 830. He's going to be center field this year. Oh, not left, like OG's.
Yeah, I mean, you had Teodosio. I mean, a lot of people like myself want to see Paris return back there. Some people want to see Adele. But when you don't make those free agent pickups for the corner outfielders, and now you're picking up guys like Chris Taylor, and we'll talk about all the additions they've made, you do have a log jam, and they're going to have to sort through exactly who's going to play where come spring training, bro, because it seems like it's like the Angels are like Oprah with the guys that, like 1-year deals. Like, you get an invite to spring training. You get an invite to spring training.
You didn't get yours?
No, I did.
I got mine in the mail.
Oh, there you go.
I just decided to graciously decline. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I don't work in fast food, but I'm just going to put the fries in the bag.
There you go.
Theoretically. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of grade this offseason the whole. Todd and I will kind of elaborate on our grades, and then some of the hitty guys responded as well. This is not giving our season projections. I don't even think we're going to project the roster much. And as we get a little closer to spring training, we'll do that. And then, of course, when we do our preview show, we'll preview records. Before we get into any of that, guys, make sure you follow us on all the social medias at Halos and Infield on everything. Tell your friends about what we're doing over here. Like, comment, subscribe. Guys, we don't ask you guys for money, so just like the stream. That's all we're asking. Thumbs up the thing. Thumbs up the stream. We don't have no $5 tiers, $15 a month to chat with us. Guys, if you guys want to hear something from us, hop in the inbox. Todd and I respond to just about every message we get. So yeah,
or just comment. Yeah,
or just comment. The comment we need to do better on, but I promise we read all the comments. We do read the messages. So reach out to us if you want us to do something, want us to talk about a topic, or heck, you want to come on the show. Let us know. I mean, we're always willing to have a fan on here and there. So yeah. Thumbs up, comment. You guys know the drill. Thank you guys so much for the love and the support. So, Todd, before you really get in the nitty-gritty of it, right off the cusp, give me your letter grade, bust out the Sharpie. We're officially counting the offseason as ending, I'd say probably yesterday, because now full squad workouts are here. What's your grade?
Grade so far is, I mean, I would love to put incomplete, but I'd have to sit there at a D+. I had some expectations coming into the offseason that, with this being the year of the 1-year contract, we can mess around and make a, and make a splash, just pick up a few 1-year deals that actually would have an impact. Now, I'm not going to sit here and sour on all of them because, You know me, I root for the name on the front than the name on the back. And if we were to get competent guys in here, no matter what their name, creed, or background, it doesn't matter to me. I just want a winner. So if this is a master plan somehow by Perry and it's going to work out that we're signing a lot of the guys that we are and they actually do pan out, then hey, I'm all for it. But to say that I'm excited by the names that they've brought in, I'd be lying to you, bro.
Yeah, so I already gave my letter grade on the obviously on the group chat when we're doing it. I agree with you. D plus. I give them a 68%. That is a D plus. Hey,
Mhm.
in high school at least D's get degrees in most cases. So
They also got community college.
yeah, hey, you know what? There's a lot of successful people that start a community college. So hey, take that for what it's worth.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think a solid 68%, man, is the way to go. We're not quite at 69, so they're not getting a nice. You don't get to have the kids get 6'7". I think 6'8's the way to go, man. I think that's the that there wasn't anything spectacular, right? Grayson Rodriguez, I thought was a very, very good thump to start the offseason. We were very excited about it. You and I were so excited that we immediately jumped on and did. You were getting ready for bed, I think, or maybe I was
Yeah.
getting ready for bed. I think we both were. And I called you, and you were like, "Oh my god, yeah, we need to go on immediately," and we did a show. And the sentiment was there. People were excited. Guys, let us know in the comments. Come on, you were excited for Grayson Rodriguez. I thought it was a good trade. I thought it was a needle moving move, and yes, that was a trade, not a signing. But that was a pretty good start to the offseason, right? You had the opportunity to have a frontline starter, and Lord knows we haven't had that in a long time here in Anaheim. So I was excited, especially for only 1 year of Ward. But the rest soured pretty quickly. I mean, I'm trying to think in terms of true 1 year signings, who was probably the biggest one? Kirby Yates?
Yeah, I think you spent the most money right there.
So you had Alec Manoah, Brent Stutter, Drew Pomerantz, Kirby Yates, and Jordan Romano. But I mean, really, the only one that kind of excites me is Yates, just because he was pretty good in that 1 year with Texas, and he had Mike Maddox as his pitching coach.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that you look at and you're like, okay, there's reclamation projects with Manoa. I didn't want him to fill out the rotation. You seen a guy just signed the other day like Zach Gallen. If we got another pitcher to go along with Grayson Rodriguez that we were feeling that, could have made an impact on this rotation, we were all for it because we felt like they're just, getting Rodriguez, you're putting yourself one more starter away, one key starter that's slightly better than Kikuchi, maybe even at or better than Rodriguez. And then you have something in a difficult AL West. So on the pitching side, we were like thinking, okay, this might be, the start of something, but it's one of those to where we just got, our Halo honks honking a little too fast because it seemed like the last couple of years, Fernando, the Angels, correct me if I'm wrong, make moves pretty early in the off season and then they just disappear. They fade out into obscurity.
Yeah, normally the Angels tend to be one of the first teams to make a major move every offseason, right?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, it was what? Cameron Maybin the day after the Cubs won the World Series. The year after that, it was Justin Upton re-signing on a 5-year deal. And at the time, in 2018, that was a big deal. Let me see. What do we have after that? I think the Dylan Bundy trade was pretty early in the offseason a couple years ago. Jorge Soler was the day after the World Series last season. And say what you want about a lot of those moves not panning out. The point is, those were still exciting moves at the time. And they were, the Angels needed that, right? The Angels at one point, we were all excited about Justin Upton, right? He was a very serviceable player. Jorge Soler, I was even excited about last offseason. Unfortunately, he just didn't have a really good 25. So for our sake, I'm hoping he has a decent 26 because he's getting paid $13 million. $13 million isn't the contract it used to be, but you're still supposed to be a bit of a game changer at $13 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, now it just seems like, if you have somebody that they can work, whether it's Christian Moore, whether it's Kyron Parrish, who's been starting at third or trying to work at third, now it seems like maybe they platoon DH him and Mancada. another guy, one of those guys they just brought back on a free agent deal, which paid way cheaper than last year. But could you see them doing that now with Trout moving to center? Like, not to sidetrack, but like with Mancada at starting against righties and maybe against lefties, you put Soler out there and DH.
Yeah, because here's the thing: Soler's defense is really bad. Right?
Yes,
he's atrocious out there. So
I think I could cover more field than he can right now.
Yeah, probably. So in theory, you're gonna have Trout in center for how many games? That still yet to be determined. Hopefully, a decent amount, and then you're gonna have probably Adele in left, and then Low and right, and then Soler at DH. I mean, Moncada would play third. Who else would be playing third? I mean, because Yohan Moncada is a switch hitter.
Yeah, I mean, could you possibly move Taylor over there, or is he more middle infielder?
Chris Taylor is more middle infield, and that's another move. I mean, we'll get to some of the minor league signings. I wasn't mad about Chris Taylor coming back. I mean, I don't think you were either. That's just a whatever depth signing. Like, you need guys like that, right? You need those guys who can be a Swiss Army knife, if you will, especially for such a low grade contract, guys.
And from what I heard, he's like a teacher in a way. Like, a lot of the guys actually, how they were paid to say that Rendon was actually very knowledgeable. We all know he wasn't. But Chris Taylor's that type of dude that will share some information or some ideas with Neto, or if he sees something one of the outfielders is doing, he'll tell him. And last year, I mean, granted the injury happened to him a couple times, but when he was out there playing, it's not like we were pissed at him. I mean, he was performing a lot better than the young kids.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to hit on this. So Neto Shenwell should be stable throughout the season, but Ohape needs to have a breakout season. I agree with you, but I'm gonna take it a step farther. I think all three of them need to have truly career years. I don't think Neto really has anything to prove, but he needs to continue to be that guy. Perhaps be a 30-30 guy. Take that next step. Nolan Schanuel had a huge improvement from 4 to 25. So I'm hoping 26, he can get that bat speed up a little bit. Not necessarily hit for power, because I don't want this guy to be a home run hitter. But I think Todd and I both really want to see Nolan Schanuel be a little bit more of a power alley type power guy. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, I think a big double is just as important as a big home run. You know what I mean? And a double kind of keeps the momentum going.
I think for me, if Schanuel turns into like a 280 to 285 hitter with 21 homers and 90 RBIs, we'll take that in a heartbeat, because that's going to your narrative. He kind of messes around and accidentally hits a home run, but if he, that's cool. But I mean, like you said, if he's hitting them down the line, or he's going the opposite field in the gap, or just driving one to right center at Anaheim, that's awesome. And that's what you want, because he's not going to win any races getting around the bases, but he'll get the second, and the other guys who are on base will score.
Yeah. I mean, he's, in my opinion, I think he's like a 15 to 18 home run type of guy. I mean, maybe he can't have a 20 home run season, but that's not what he needs to aim for. That's just not his game. I want him to be a power alley type guy, hit it in the power alleys, especially because Angel Stadium does have some pretty decent power alleys, and right center field there. You have a pretty decent power alley. Not like you do in San Francisco or even Boston, but you have a very respectable power alley over there. You can easily get a guy from first to home with decent speed in that power alley.
Yeah, we've seen players that have gone the opposite way when they maybe shade too much to the right, and you hit that left center field wall right there where it really creases out to the deepest part of the field. Guys turn that into triples. So not saying Schanuel will, but I'm telling you, if you have a guy at first base and he rips one to the gap right there, the guy's going to score.
Yeah, if Schanuel gets more than 5 triples in a year, hell, even more like 3 triples in a year, like there was no outfielders.
Correct.
It was like banana ball, the little one-on-one thing. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of banana ball, guys. Don't hate me. But the one thing I like, you and I were totally for the 1-year deals. This was definitely the year to do it with the lockout most likely happening after next season. And I really don't hate the 1-year deals with the bullpen, right? Jordan Romano was a serviceable pitcher at one point for Philadelphia. Can he get to that point again? Yeah, especially with a guy like Robert Stevenson. That guy's such a question mark. I don't understand why the Angels continue to pitch the narrative that he has the ability to be the closer for this team. I don't think he does. The guy's never healthy. Ever, ever, ever. He's not even throwing off the mound fully yet. He's like, I think, halfway up. Same with Ben Joyce. But we knew going into this season that Ben Joyce wasn't going to be healthy to start. So we were expecting that. You know, if we are lucky, I think Ben Joyce is going to be maybe a May kind of guy. What do you think? Very late April, maybe?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's going to extend. I think me and you have been on record several times as saying we should have ran it back with Jansen because then he could have bought time for these guys. They're thinking maybe Kirby Yates is a cheaper form of that, and he could provide that. But who knows? He doesn't have that like shut down dominance that Jansen and that command, that Hall of Famer career. So yeah, I mean, if you were waiting on guys like Joyce to come back in May or early June, if at worst, and then Stevenson, who was chasing ghosts all the time with that arm issue, saying, "Oh, it just doesn't feel right, so I don't want to push it." Like every time any kind of slight discomfort, he was shutting it down. It's like you need stability in the back end of the bullpen. You can trace it back to any team, but particularly if you just want to look Angels, their best success was not only a legitimate lineup, a regular lineup, but it was also a back end of that bullpen. Every Angels team that's had success, you can name off the guys who led up into the closer because they were out there, they were available on a nightly or every other night basis, and you had that closer, the end all be all pitcher that scared the opponent. And the Angels just haven't had that in recent years, and really it's just one big question mark this year.
I think Kenley Jensen was starting to be that guy last year. I mean, don't you remember he purposely started balking guys?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't do that unless you have, if your kids are in the car, you might want to fast forward 30 seconds, unless you got a little bit of hair on your balls. You know what I mean? Like you got to have a little bit of hair on the cojones to be able to do something like that. You're giving out a free base for no reason other than you're afraid they might be stealing your signs. I mean, if you're playing the Astros, maybe.
Correct.
Saucy James. What are the odds of someone making the squad with no major league experience? This is the Angels. We saw what happened last year with Ryan Johnson. I think there's really only two guys that have a chance to make the roster with no experience. I don't think Rada is going to make the roster with no major league experience. Maybe next year. Do you think Tyler Bremner may be out of the bullpen? I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying, knowing the Angels the way we do, number 2 overall pick, if he has a great spring training, I'm worried that they might just be like, hey, let's put him in the bullpen.
Yeah, I would not mess with that at all. I think you would take lessons from last year with Johnson and just literally give Brennan the opportunity to start at rookie ball and move his way up. Let him progress through.
I think he at least starts at high A, at least with the Dust Devils.
I just start him over, dude. Hit the reset. Let him get his feet wet. And if he dominates like Johnson did, move him up, but make him earn it. I mean, it seemed like after Johnson had that rough April, but he had good stuff, they realized, okay, we got a good pitcher, but he's got to work his confidence and he's got to work on some of the stuff that he's getting killed for because he has no EXP. So they sent him down. And throughout the year, I know we were keeping an eye on him. He was dominating at every level. So there's a chance that he makes the roster. Brennan, man, to go back to your point, I think it would be too detrimental to say, okay, you've been a starter all your life. Here's the bullpen. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I wouldn't be calling him Tyler Bremner. I'm just simply responding to the question. Chris Cortez is another guy who's pretty favorable. A lot of guys are excited about him. A lot of fans. I've seen a lot of people talking about him.
Clausen.
Yeah. I guess Clausen doesn't have any major league experience. So, I mean, there are some guys that I'm afraid the Angels might rush up if they have a good spring training, but I don't think they should. These are, it's a good thing to put guys in the minors and have them be so good. You're kind of slowly making them take the next step. And then they eventually just hit that point where they're like, all right, man, Todd started at rookie ball last year and man, he's just killing it. And he's a AAA now, man. He's got like a 2-something ERA. He's dominating. We got to make room for him. You know what? Alek Manoah kind of sucks. Let's cut him. Especially at 1 year, $1 point something million. You know what I mean? That's a good problem to have. That's what a functional organization does, right? They call them guys when they're ready. So I'm really hoping that we can do it right with some of these guys, especially because right now, for the first time in a long time, the Angels don't have a lack of pitchers. There's going to be some people that call me an idiot because I'm still seeing people every time, like the Angels signed Adam Frazier to a minor league deal, and people were like, we need pitching. You know what? Right now, the problem is we have too many pitchers, but not enough like quality pitchers just yet, right?
Yeah. Well, I see like what Jared is saying right here. He's saying that Mike Maddox is so important. It is true because he could bring that new dynamic. He's been there, done that. He knows what a good pitcher is. He knows what their faults are, and he could easily. And it's up to the pitcher to change his approach. Now, with that being said, you've mentioned just a handful of pitchers, and that's not even talking about the ones that have got the rotation. The Angels do have a bunch of pitchers. They have a bunch of guys. Now, who will ascend? Who knows? And I'm interested to see the projects, Fernando, like Kowanowitz. A lot of people hate that guy, but he had so much movement on his pitches last year. He just had a hard time being consistent with it because when he was on, dude's getting like 18 ground balls out of 21 outs. And when he's off, he's giving up 8 runs in 2 innings.
Yeah.
But
he has decent stuff. Like he has movement on his pitches. He just stopped trusting his, he started ruling out some of those pitches just at the wrong time. So to go back to that point, like even Halo Rail fan, I would like to see what he does with guys like Bachman. If Bachman can stay healthy, can he get him pitching to where he's not, I don't think he's gonna be a starter, but a really good bullpen piece. And then can he get Kowanowitz to work back into maybe a mid relief to a starter, fringe 5 starter again? Who knows? But there is a bunch of arms, but can we elevate these arms? Because that's the only way the Angels are going to be successful, in my opinion. I gave up on Sam Bachman a long time ago. You know what? I've said it before. I've been wrong. I'll be wrong again. I hope that Sam Bachman proves
you want to be wrong. Yes.
I want to be wrong for once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I want to honk my honks, not too many times because I don't want to go to prison, but I want to honk my honks, guys. You know what I mean? Like we all want to honk it.
Yeah. But we haven't been able to pull it out, not only in public but in private, because this team has not been good. And that's the thing. I mean, we're all fans, but we also want to call it down the middle. Like, hey, man, like this doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. So there's a reason why Fernando came out and said, "What's your grade?" And he gave his grade the same, D+. It's because the bar is not set exactly high. So if it is to a C+ level, Fernando, wouldn't you be super excited?
Absolutely. Yeah. Honking in a dark corner of your room. If you honk too much, the FBI, Cash Patel specifically, is going to be not even knocking. Homie's going to knock down your door and be like, "Todd, come with us."
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to put you on like the no-fly list because you're honking your honks.
Well, that and the fact you'd be chafing pretty bad too. So.
Oh yeah. We don't have a cream sponsorship yet, guys. Don't be doing all that. No free ads. So there are a couple of pieces that I will channel my inner Halo honk. I mean, it's in there somewhere. We all have it somewhere in there. The Hunter Strickland re-signing, I was here for it. I think we all were. You know what? He's been a decent Angel. A couple of years ago when we traded for him, he was terrible. And I remember losing all faith in him. But, I mean, he's been around, part of the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, he's made it through. I think last year it was a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, I saw him working out in Irvine in the gym." And then like the next day he was signed. I mean, he's the kind of guy. It's like, yeah, I'm here. I'll pitch. I'll help out. I'll do my thing. He's been there, done that, been in the postseason. I think it's good for him to get a check. He's local. And he wants to win, but I mean, like he's not a worry, like you said, a signing like him, you're like, okay, that helps. That's depth.
Yeah. And you know what? Like every team needs depth. That's been the problem with the Angels, right? It's just been like there is no cushion to fall back on. You know what? So that's why you're having to trade for these player to be named later type guys. You're having to claim these guys you've never heard of. Like at least the Angels waivers claims they did make were for guys that have been successful. Gosh, there was that guy that we got from the Athletics. Guys, help me out. His name starts with a B. Maybe it's like Beto, by something like that. Bido.
Oh, Osvaldo Bido.
He was pretty decent a couple of years ago with the Athletic. So, like, if that's right, I don't mind claiming guys like that because organizations do need depth guys that are going to eat innings for you. They have decent stuff. It was 2 or 3 years ago that they were good. If that's all they are. If those are depth guys, great. If those are guys that you're relying on to be a solid, contributor to your starting rotation, that's when you have problems.
Yeah, I mean, position players, there's going to be some pitchers that might be cut that we picked up, but I'm not worried about them because I think out of all of this, we're going to be watching the spring training with a different view this year because there's going to be so many auditions. So many guys that we've seen the last couple of years want to make the team, like your Radas, your Kyron Paris. You got to see bounce back years from them. You want to see a Vaughn Grisham, other players like that have come on and struggled other places. Will they make it their mark here? Can they actually make the roster? Will they be
Peraza, right?
Yeah, will they accept roles to AAA if they don't, if they're cut, will they, be DFA'd? Will they come back to Salt Lake or Rocket City? Because maybe they were right there, but they just didn't quite make it. But they know that with this team, they're going to get a chance. That's what I'm looking for. And there's going to be a lot of it during spring training where we're going to be able to not only evaluate these players, but get a feel of what this team's looking for. Because again, in years past, it's like, okay, if you can't hit a home run, you're not going to make the roster. But I think with this team, if they are really putting their money where their mouth is and they're preaching small ball, get on base, they're valuing the walks. I'm kind of excited to see that because maybe that does play into the strengths of some of these players we've acquired.
Yeah. There's another couple guys that were brought here who I'm really interested to see what kind of springs they have. So Gustavo Campero, we've seen him in the past. He's played some outfield. He re-signed on a minor league deal. I'm excited to see what he can do. I remember you were kind of excited about him. Then he got hurt.
Yeah.
But his very short sip of coffee that he had, you seem to really like him and the kind of energy that he brought.
I just didn't like him in the outfield, but other than that, he was pretty good.
Yeah, you already mentioned Vaughn Grissom. Trey Mancini.
That's what I was going to say. You like him.
He's a really interesting candidate to me. Now, he hasn't done a lot since, 2022 or so? That's just off the top of my head. With the Orioles, I think maybe 23, he had a decent year. And I was really high on him at that time because I have a buddy who's a really big Orioles fan. So, I watch a lot of Orioles games. So I've seen him be a decent enough hitter. The guy just fell off. It's crazy how some of these guys just are great or at least average players for 2, 3, 4 years, and then they just can't hit water if they fell off the boat.
Yeah, it's one of those to where you got to first adjust to the league, and if you do, once they get a book on you, now you got to adjust to them because they're going to start finding your outs and what trips you. So
yeah, look what's happened to Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah,
to your point.
Yeah,
he hasn't been able to adjust. He started off the year super, super hot. He just fell off a cliff. So yeah, Logan O'Hoppe is a guy who really does need to have a big year. I know we've agreed that we're going to do this episode, but Todd, I think you and I kind of agree. If the Angels, and especially the members of what people consider the young core, don't take a step forward, forget competing, we might have to consider tearing this down. Like, you can't do a rebuild if your guys aren't taking steps forward and the team isn't getting a little better for 3, 4 straight years.
Yeah, absolutely. At some point, you got to stop banging your head on the wall and realize the wall's there. We got to do something different if we're going to get through that wall.
Yeah.
And so I think right now, I think that is the test. I mean, people are saying about the outfield right here, Baldwin. We got to figure that out because that seemed to have the biggest question marks on this team. But there's just an awful lot of question marks because I just feel we've got a lot of guys, but we don't have. I mean, outside your Netos, Shauna Wells, and Logan O'Hoppes, I don't even know if you could throw him in there after the year he had. But you don't have too many. Yeah, this guy's penciled in. Like he's already got his spot. You don't have to worry about it. I think there's so much auditioning and so much, you gotta play good to play at all type thing. The sort of compete mentality might be the way this team has to go. And if it doesn't, then yeah, I mean, you're going to have most likely an elongated off season with the whole strike potentially to where you can sit back and be like, okay, what are we doing? Are we going to go freaking long term here? Or are we going to tear it down like you said?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys in camp right now. We don't have a lot of dudes. You know
Correct.
what I mean? Zach Neto, that's a dude right there. You know what I mean? Like, that's our dude. Nolan Shanduel, even, that's our dude. You know what I mean? So we don't have too many of those guys. Okay, I know Todd doesn't have too much time today. So let's real quick just go through some of the grades that these other fellow Halos in the infield guys said. So Todd and I agreed on a D plus. I gave him a 68%. What are you giving them?
I'll give it a 68 as well.
Okay,
I'll play off of that.
Yeah. I think that's a good number to be at. You know what I mean? Like, you're close to a C minus. You could have gotten a C minus if you would have maybe gotten, I don't know, man. There's just so many one-year deals they could have done. Like,
True.
I think you shouldn't have gotten Alec Manoah. You could have signed like a guy like Michael Lorenz and brought him back on a one-year deal. Then you could have got like Husung Kim. What they get him for 1 year, $20 million. Granted, he got hurt or whatever. He got like a paper cut. I don't know. Something happened to his hand. So that wouldn't have been great. But, I would have been excited at that time when that happened. Okay, so Josh, our Substack writer, make sure to look out for his articles when those come out. He said he's going to give them a C. He wanted to say D plus, but he's giving them a C because of the new staff. That is what he said. Cowboy Vince also is giving him a D plus. His exact words were, the Angels are signing players like people buy lottery tickets. The problem is this lottery hit 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what the lottery numbers are: 5, 17, 6, 14, 23. Okay, great. And you put those exact numbers in, but those numbers already hit like 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So
it's a good analogy. I like that.
Great analogy. Good job there. Angels Cowboy Vince, give him a follow as well at Angels_Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dominic was a little bit more elaborate. C minus, saying the biggest thing they did to help is that they address depth. I think we all agree with that because the depth has always been the issue. And the additions they have made have decent track records. The question is, will they stay healthy? Oh my God, as we're talking, the Padres just signed Walker Buehler. I don't know what the Padres are doing. Herman Marquez, Walker Buehler, Ty France, Nick Castellanos, Griffin Canning. The Padres are waking up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're trying to make up for what they lost. I mean, they lost Darvish, they lost Cease.
Darvish technically didn't retire, by the way.
Oh, okay. I thought he retired. So,
No.
Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Padres because we do have a few people like Hacksaw and possibly if we can get those Padre fans on that we've been talking about the last couple months, we'll
Heath
have.
Bell wants to come on, by the way.
They what?
Heath Bell wants to come on. We were texting like 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay, see that'll be a good interview there too. So we'll definitely get our Padres feel of how things are going to go right there. That's the Angels of the National League, in my opinion.
No,
but I mean a better version. So
hey, they used to be like the laughingstock of the National League.
Correct. But if you have to ask, I think if you polled most Angel fans, their secondary would be the Padres. If you were to allow your fandom to have a secondary, I think they would pick the Padres.
Yeah, they're like my second favorite team. There's a big gap, in all fairness, between the Angels and the Padres for me. But yeah. So guys, follow us, like, comment, subscribe. Please thumbs up the stream. It's the best way to tell us you appreciate what we're doing here, and it helps us greatly against the YouTube algorithm. That way we can see you guys back here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have a lot more baseball content to come. And yeah, be on the lookout for some spring training recaps here and there. And then we'll give you some WBC coverage too. So look out.
Yeah,
for
Todd's
that.
going to be going live after all the Team USA games. I'm like 95% sure that I'm going to game 1 in Houston for Team Mexico versus Great Britain. So if you guys are interested in that, follow me on Instagram at the Lone Star Halo. I'm trying to use that account more, but yeah, I'll probably be posting a lot of content for it and probably make a YouTube video about the experience there.
See if you can pick up any of the letters that fall off those Great Britain jerseys. That'd be pretty cool. Souvenir.
Great Britain is. I'm going to come out with like a D. You're going to be like, wait, but there's no D in Great Britain. Well, where'd you get that from?
Oh man, thanks, Tony. Thanks, Tony. Right there. All right, guys, have a good rest of your evening, and go Angels, right?
Go Angels. Vote yes. Recall Artie Moreno.
Yes, I'm always behind that vote right there.
Thank you all for watching the Halos in the Infield podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on your way out.
Sweet.